it! Get a grip! This stupid video I just showed you! I almost stroked out and died over it. You're watching a different show! You donkey! You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship! Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State, it's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? 312-988-15.
Hello?
You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks. What a rush. I don't know any other way to describe it. What a rush. It's rare in my Notre Dame lifetime you end up in a situation like this where it's all upside, no downside. Everybody could just be happy and everybody could celebrate. And it's been really nice. It's just been really, really nice. And again, I'm just so happy for everybody. So it's just really nice for us to be on the plus side of a big time scenario situation like this. I already see some of what I figured was coming. Once that initial rush wears off of the reality of Notre Dame's new positioning and new situation, I figured then people would start going the next step. Then you start figuring out who's a good matchup, who's a bad matchup for round one. And I think there are some very obvious answers to that based on roster and overall talent. And I think it's pretty obvious to me, some of this, where you want to be and who you don't want to see and that kind of thing. And we will get into that. But there's just a lot to consider now. Now that we know this is our reality and this goal has been checked, this box has been checked. Now there's a lot more in play. And it's going to be a big deal. And I don't know how you figure it out, you guys. The bracketologists here, whatever, figure it out. Who needs to win or who we need to root for to win or lose in the championship games to get what we want to match up, whatever. I'm not smart enough to figure that all out. But that's kind of the next step of this, is trying to figure out who you might get round one and what that matchup looks like. So there's some of that we need to discuss. Here's the thing, man. Don't let the people being negative in the chat get you down. Don't let them get you down. I figured some of this was going to come, and it's just like, why are you acting like you dominated USC? You know, the game was almost tied and they have 6 losses, all that. Listen, you guys, I understand all that. It wasn't about that. It didn't matter how it looked. It didn't matter what it made you feel. All you had to do is get that win against your rival and then go from there. That's all you had to do. And they did that. So I'm not letting any of these people bring me down. I'm going to repeat. It didn't matter what it looked like. You just had to get over this hurdle. It's a rivalry game. We already went over, you guys. That USC team is better than their record. That USC team is better than their record. And I'm going to stand by that. They have better athletes than what their record says that it should be. Okay. So that's something to keep in mind, but it didn't matter what it looked like. It didn't have to make you feel all pretty inside. You just needed to get this win and then reset. Okay. Here are the realities. Keep them phone lines coming, and then I'll give it to you guys the rest of the way. And I do see some people that maybe tried to call, couldn't get in Saturday or whatever. It was just the busiest call-in show we've ever had. I just couldn't do it. 3.5 hours and I couldn't. People just kept calling. People were waiting. I couldn't get to everybody. It was a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful, beautiful thing. So this is a good place to be if you're Notre Dame. And now the issue is, how greedy can you get? How greedy can you get? How far can you run this thing? I see people talking about the recruiting. Once the elation of the immediacy of the moment settled down for me, that's something I thought about yesterday afternoon as well, is this team looks pretty fun to be a part of. You know, when I thought about it, you guys, I'll tell you, keep them calls coming. I'll go to you. I was editing some video stuff for Twitter, a little highlight package. I'm going back to Cali, and I was editing some of that together. And some of it is the footage from the locker room where they were playing white tee. And if you're in my age, you like, I don't know if that's from my era or not, but you know exactly what I mean when I say I bang in my white tee, I slang in my white tee. And the guys were dancing in the locker room, and I was editing some of that. Sure does look like they're having fun, man. It looks like they're really having fun with their teammates and their coaches, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And so you do wonder, when does that recruiting start to take a little bit of a turn here to where when does Notre Dame start getting like the good team benefit, right? Of like proof of concept that it's not just a good education, but like on the higher end. Like, I'm just wondering, maybe it doesn't change some of the things people are scared about Notre Dame or don't want to go there for or whatever. I'm just asking. It's a pretty fun group to be around and a group of coaches everybody seems to like. So I'm just asking, is there a point of this where that starts to change the way some of the guys that we're borderline with and don't end up getting start changing their mind and look at Notre Dame a little different and go, man, they really got it going on there. They do something different. That's the thing, you guys. You got to have the mentality to want to be different and want to stand out and want to do something your own way and something totally different to want to choose the Notre Dame path. Not every 4 or 5-star kid is wired that way. They want an SEC championship. They want a Big Ten title. Like, you got to be a certain dude wired a different way. Excuse me. I've been using my voice a lot this weekend. You got to be wired a different way to choose that Notre Dame path. And so I just wonder at what point does the winning and how much fun this team have start to kind of balance this stuff out. Okay. And so let's do a couple super chats. I highlighted a couple of comments I want to go over, and then I'm going to give the callers some time here and hear from you guys what you think. So I want to know still your reactions from the USC game. That's on the table. 312-900-8815. What are your immediate priorities for the team now? Obviously, getting healthy is a key one. Love, whatever's getting healthy. What are your other priorities for the team? Figuring out if anyone's going to be able to make a field goal, even a 2-footer. I want to know over the next few weeks, are they going to find anybody that can make a 5-yard field goal, or is that too much to ask for Notre Dame? The main guy's hurt. You don't have a backup that can make an extra point-length field goal? Are you outside your mind? That's what I don't get. Like, it's just like, well, John, the main guy's hurt. You don't have a backup kicker that can make an extra point at Notre Dame? You can find a soccer player who could do that. And his name's Surgeon Reggie Ho. Like, come on, man. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So I don't know, but this is those are some of the things I'm wondering. And if anybody has a theory of what comes next or what I need to look for, somebody put in the chat who we want to win or lose on title championship day to benefit Notre Dame the most or whatever. I don't know. I'm not smart enough to figure out the bracketology on all this, you guys. I am admittedly just not. I'm just not. And so it's just, I don't know. Kent, it's good to see Kent here. He's going through some stuff. I said it before. I'll say it again, Kent. Listen, man, sometimes you see things clearer when you're on the outside. And I believe that is true in a lot of areas of life. Like, you could see crystal clear a situation where you're not really married to it and you're not in the middle of it. It's easier for you to objectively see some realities and some truths. There's something wrong with Ryan Day. I don't know. Now I think it's crossing into legit like mental health issue. Like, there's something wrong with the guy. It ain't clicking. There's some disconnect between whatever Day's doing. And it's just, I don't know how to say it. You're not getting that all of our talent comes together and all plays as one and outperforms. We do better as a unit together than we all separate. You're not getting, there's something just missing, man. There's something just missing. He says he ain't going through nothing, win the championship, and it'll be all right. That's on the table. It's weird, though, man. I got most of your media that I've been consuming is saying even if they win the championship, it's tainted and it will not mean anything to them because of what happened against Michigan. So I don't know whether you are just kind of protecting your emotions, looking at it that way on the high end. I'm telling you this, Ryan Day is lucky there is a 12-team playoff, or he probably would be fired right now. Think about it. If this was a 4-teamer and they did what they did and got this, you're done. You're done. And then how does this look? Because then you're out. So he better thank his lucky stars that it's a 12-teamer and they're still going to be able to get in or whatever. But yeah, you could say they could win the championship, but I'm telling you, all of the Ohio State media I've consumed, those guys are all saying it ain't going to mean nothing to them because they got embarrassed by Michigan. And that may seem crazy to some people that even if you win a championship, it isn't going to mean as much. But with a Michigan, and it's not just a regular loss, it's a humiliation. Biggest point spread in the history of that battle, and to this Michigan team, you can't lose that way. There's something wrong. The fight thing was ugly, and it's just an ugly look. Ryan Day just standing there, dazed and confused while it's all going on. There's something wrong with the guy. I'm sorry. There's just something wrong with the guy. Something is, I think it's literally bordering on a mental health thing now. He's out of whack. He don't look right or healthy in his mind. But there is just a problem there. He's no alpha. He's no Urban where guys will die for him. He ain't that alpha. He ain't that guy. The problem for Ohio State is, yeah, he definitely doesn't have that dog in him. He has a fake dog in him. He's a fake dog. Here's the thing, you guys. When you need to keep telling people you're tough, you ain't tough. Right? Like that, it's like guys on the internet that talk about being an alpha male or whatever. Dude, if you have to tell people you're an alpha male, you're not an alpha male. I got news for you. Like literally, it drives me crazy. Like, I'm an alpha male, blah, blah, blah. Look at how tough I am. If you need to announce to people you're an alpha, you ain't an alpha. Because if you're an alpha, by default, everybody knows when you walk in the room, you're that guy. Everybody knows when you walk in the room, you're that guy if you're that guy. You don't have to tell anybody. So I don't know. The other thing we're going to address, Brian Kelly's talking. Yeah, Hustlers University, J. Carr. I'm the number one enrolled in Hustlers University. I got a Bugatti up front from all the super chats. Oh, that's funny. Brian Kelly's out here talking about we're going to be in the title and I'm taking receipts and you could book it and all this kind of stuff. And I've been so excited about Notre Dame. I haven't been worried about Brian Kelly as much. Here's the thing, you guys. He's acting out. Brian Kelly's in a bad situation. He's all frustrated because his team's not making the playoff and he sees everybody else in the playoff, Notre Dame, other SEC teams. Brian he's fighting for attention. He's struggling for relevancy. He's had a bad end of the season and recruiting run, and he's acting out. So that's all this is. Brian Kelly's lashing out. He's acting out. He's frustrated that this isn't developing as fast as he wanted, and he's grasping to stay in the news and be relevant here at the end of the year. So he's throwing the line further out there with the political stuff. Always politicking, never elected, you guys. Brian Kelly, always politicking, never elected. That is how I view him. I understand I am taking shots, personally taking some shots from the LSU media yesterday on one of their shows. Personal insults. That's perfectly fine. They, just like Brian Kelly, don't know how to react to the situation, and they're lashing out, and it's sad, and it's very pathetic. So I don't mind taking personal shots. Adam Dowling let me know there was some being had at my expense. I don't mind that at all. They're very, very frustrated. Here's the thing, man. Brian Kelly is a big psyop, and he's already got these SEC people accepting less. he is already getting these LSU people that came into this with championship every year standards when Brian Kelly came. Then we're the big bad SEC, blah, 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 blah. Okay. 3 years, and Brian Kelly's already got him kicking the can down the road to year 6, 7, and 8. It's hilarious. And they're all falling for it. And so that's their problem. They're all frustrated. They're all upset. They're mad about Notre Dame's scheduling, and it's not fair that they could schedule anybody they wanted, all this stuff. So it's it's great to see the PSYOP is working. Ruffino is the main guy coming at me from the LSU media. I've had basically a 3-year running online battle with that guy. He doesn't like me. I don't like him. And I go at him every day. And he's one of the guys that came at me yesterday. He's just going to yell at his co-host the whole time. It's hilarious. But he was making fun of me, making fun of my voice on the air and everything else. It's a beautiful thing. He's mad. So they don't know how to handle it. And so it's pretty great to see. But the best part of it is they're falling for the PSYOP. Always politicking, never elected. They're letting him kick the can down the road another year. It's beautiful. So that's what's going on with that. I'm happy to take those shots by the LSU media. It shows that we are in their head, and it's great. So that's enough about Brian Kelly. Let me get into some of these chats here. Steven with the $2 holler. Here's a $2. Son of a buck. Oh, I love to see it. Let's see what else we have on the super chats. $5 holler from the Chief. Hater here to give Marcus credit now that he actually done something worth praise. Imagine that. $5 holler from the Chief. That's a beautiful thing, man. It's yeah, man. Listen, Freeman was able to check a couple boxes here, showing the program is advancing the right way on the field with tangible progress, right? Making the playoff field is that, whatever the record is, making the playoff field does that, checks that box. The next step to that, the next step up from that is taking it the next level and getting a home hosting seed, maybe even being in play for the 5 seed. You did that too. So those first 2 big boxes that needed to be checked here have been checked. So that's a really, really good job by Marcus. That is a regular season mission complete. Check the box, made the playoff, check the box, hosting seed that should give you a benefit. That's a beautiful thing. That alone right there is accomplishment and progression for Marcus. Now you got to get greedy. Now your mentality needs to shift to every team in this tournament is somewhat flawed. There is no dominant all-star team that's going to mow everybody down. If you play good football, you have a shot. That's how you got to think about this. Right now. $10 holler from Eric. I find this very surprising. Riley Leonard played the entire season without getting hurt and missing a game. I know. I'm kind of surprised by that too. Really, really tough guy. And I've been seeing this too, you guys. Secret agent. Freeman headed to the Bears. I saw that tweet come out about like, oh, Freeman's on the Bears list. I don't really see that as a fit. Number one is he's never been an NFL coach in only year 3 of what he's doing now. That's a little weird to drop him right in the Bears with that level of experience and no NFL experience at all, other than briefly as a player, obviously. But the other part of it is Eberflus was a defensive guy and just got fired. Don't you think they're going to want an offensive guy to work with Caleb and everything? Like, that's usually how the Bears pendulum swings, offense, defense, minded coach or whatever. I feel like they're going to want an offensive guy because Caleb Williams is their whole thing right now. So it sounds to me like you want to get the guy an extension and his agent's putting some in the water or something. $10 holler from my lawyer in Michigan. Oh, we already did that. Thank you. V1 Rotate, $10 holler. As bad as our defense looked, this was the most points we've given up since the Gator Bowl in 22. Also, when was the last time our offense carried the defense? Yeah, and okay. Here's another good point. Another good point is how the further we get away from the pure joy of just being in the playoff and the excitement of hosting this game and what South Bend's going to be like and all that excitement. I want to know how you guys are viewing the USC game. And what I mean by that is, are you saying tough battle rivalry game? They're clearly better than what their record is. They got athletes all over. It was at their place and they fought us hard. And I'm just glad to get out of there with the win. Or are you saying, man, what I saw in this USC game causes me a little bit of a concern. I'm worried if our run defense is going to hold up against a better team in the playoff. And Notre Dame's secondary looked a little more vulnerable than we're used to against those USC athletes. We were grabbing a little bit, got a bunch of penalties. I'm just wondering, where people are falling on some of the challenges there with USC. I'm going to admit, and I have no problem admitting, Adam Dowling's exactly right. At times, it looked like Notre Dame was a team who hasn't played real athletes in a couple months. And you know why? Because I think they haven't played real athletes in a couple months. And it was almost like Notre Dame had to kind of catch up a little bit of oh, crap. USC has real dudes on the outside that can jump and are twitchy. And you got to kind of wake up to that, right? You got to wake up to that. So yeah, it's a riot. $10 holler from the West Palm, Pat. The ND defense played really well. Allowed net 21 points, 35 minus 14. The D against the high-powered SC offense. It's winning football. I'm telling you, man. I think the defense would admit they probably didn't have their sharpest day, but they made winning plays when you need to make them. They made winning plays when you need to make them. Good to see you, West Palm. Good to see you, West Palm. I bet you it's warmer there than it is here right now. Ooh, it's cold. Ooh, it's cold. Here's something else I want to mention. Think of how many big game moments Notre Dame has been in your lifetime where the game's really, really close. It's in the balance. And if a couple more plays were made one way or the other, that's going to determine the outcome of the game and maybe some seasons, right? I can think of so many of these moments in recent Notre Dame past where for some reason we fail in that moment and the other team makes those plays. And you're sitting there going, man, if one or two other things go different, we're the winners of this game and everything's different or whatever. Notre Dame was the team that made those plays in this moment. That game was dicey for a while. It was frustrating for a while. Everybody, all the Notre Dame fans are going, here we go again. It's going to be one of these because, and they're fighting harder than you wanted them. USC was I got to give them credit. They were fighting so much harder than what I thought a team with a handful of losses and nothing to play for. I give them a ton of credit. Those guys were fighting, man. They were giving their all out there, and I loved it. For them, it was great to see they were fighting in that rivalry game. It was really, really nice to see Notre Dame be the team to make the game-locking, game-changing plays. It was just really, really good to see, man. And we haven't seen enough of that in modern Notre Dame football history. And so it was beautiful. Yeah, the fake punt, that's ballsy. If you don't get it, you're in a really bad spot with where they're leaving you on the field. But it was all perfect. I'm so happy for Goolsby, too. His boy Buckner gets the fake-a-rooney there, the fake-a-rooney special. So that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Listen, the Riley Mills thing, you guys know how Twitter is. Twitter is a disingenuous place. Twitter is a disingenuous place. And you have all these people only cutting up the part where our guy hit the guy and not showing the full interaction that the USC guy did something to our guy first. This is the world we live in, you guys. This is the world we live in. Anything could be manipulated to fit any angle and any narrative, and you see it across any way of life, any different aspect of life. Okay? So that's what you're seeing now is fans of all these other teams and the LSU people, the same ones that are making fun of me, taking shots at me personally on their YouTube show, are the same ones going, I thought Notre Dame was about class. Look at this guy. This isn't classy. I thought that was Notre Dame's thing. You're being disingenuous and you're not showing the entire interaction. You're not showing the entire interaction. So that is disingenuous. Notre Dame haters. There's a bunch of people out there just to make us look bad. That's what they get off on. That's their whole bit. That's their whole thing. Dr. John, I'm really trying to figure out my life. I'm going to message you, email you, or call you today. I'm trying to figure out the Sports Illustrated responsibilities and part of what I'm going to want or need to do for this game versus the fan, always Irish part of me. And I got a couple different things I got to figure out. But I'll be getting back to you today with some of those considerations and getting your input on some of it too, Dr. John. And then I see Kent going off on Ryan Day again. Here's the thing, man. Chip Kelly, I don't know. I really couldn't understand. I couldn't understand Ohio State's game plan. One, it was scared. It reminded me of a Brian Kelly situation where the head coach is scared and then it filters down and the whole program scared. That's what it was. Ryan Day coached scared, looked scared, and I felt that in that team too. It was very Brian Kelly-ish in that way. And you could just feel the lack of confidence and just wound all tight and everything, playing not to lose instead of to win that whole thing. Kelly did. You could feel that with Ryan Day and this team. But here's what I don't get. The best part of Michigan's defense is the middle of the D line. Their best defensive player in the secondary was out. Ohio State has all these great athletes. And they insisted on just trying to run the ball into Michigan's teeth all day. All day. They wanted to just keep running it right into the strength of the Michigan defense instead of using the whole second half. You didn't throw your most athletic receiver even one, but you didn't have one catch. He ain't targeted. Come on, man. So I don't know what they were doing, but it was a scared game plan and whatever. The last thing I'm going to do is feel bad for Ohio State on anything. I don't want Michigan to do good either. I don't like either of them. So whatever, but at least it knocked the Ohio State people down a couple pegs. Other than the ones I like. I'm telling you this, Eric over at the Ohio podcast, really, really good stuff last night. Not the corporate BS, local media stuff. No, like they were ripping into this, asking tough questions, really getting after it. It was, they did a good job over there at the Ohio podcast covering this stuff. Let's see. Yeah, people are saying recruiting needs to catch up. I already referenced that earlier. I thought of this over the weekend when the rush kind of calmed down. Is when do people start realizing how much fun it is playing Notre Dame, and that they got it going on and it's kind of fun and you have a cool group of guys and you're all going to be set up for a good, successful life in the business world, if not the football field, whatever. Like if you're winning on the field, the degree's worth a lot. You're putting people in the NFL and it's a fun atmosphere. I don't know what else people would want. How much winning of this level does Notre Dame have to do to change the tide to get a few more 4- and 5-star guys really interested? I don't know the answer to that. John, I gotta know where you're going to the game. I'm trying to plan on it, but I don't know in what capacity. So, but I just feel like, how am I not going to be in South Bend for this? How can I not be in South Bend for this, you guys? Callers, I'm coming to you. How could I not be in South Bend for this? This is like a historic moment in Notre Dame. I'm 2 hours away. It's not like I have a 20-hour drive or a $2,000 plane ticket I got to buy. How could I not be there? Are you guys going to hate me if I do the call-in show the next day? But I go and I document all this and record content there and do all this stuff. Like, I don't know. So there's just a lot. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. Yeah, I don't get that. I see another one with Freeman to the Bears. Lincoln Riley to the Bears, I think is a lot more likely. Tailgate party's hard to set up. This is on such close notice. Not all my people that help set up are going to go. It's going to be freezing cold. Like, that's a tough one. I have no idea what the plan is yet. I don't know. Can't even think about it. But how can I not be in town? $5 holler from the V1. Seeing Watts talk trash as you ran past the SC sideline is what the rivalry is all about. It's the last, dude. I'm telling you, how great was that? Go to a bar and watch a game. That's the funniest thing you've ever said. No, that does not work for me. I'm not a let's watch. I can't do that. I don't even like I don't even like Super Bowl parties. Too many people talking during a football game that don't care about football. It annoys me. The last thing I'm going to do is be in a crowded bar where I don't have my space. There's just always people there that don't really care about the game, that are annoying to me, and they're in the way. People are loud. I can't hear everything. I can't see everything. People are there's too many variables. There's too many variables. Me watching a Notre Dame game in a bar is very unsafe for everybody. My sanity, like, no. That's never been something I'm able to do. There's too many variables. I don't even want to put myself in a position where there's the opponent's team fans that I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Okay. Let me see. We got callers. So I'm going to give you guys the floor here. So listen, I need somebody to try and tell me, what should we want to happen to win or lose to get us the matchup that is most favorable in the playoff? I'm not smart enough to figure out that bracket stuff. So here, let's look at this. This is a good example. Then I'm going to the calls, I promise. Mikey pulls. My prediction is that Penn State loses the Big Ten championship game. ND gets 5th seed. They'll play one of the following: Big 12 champ, ASU, Iowa State, 3-loss Clemson, ACC champ, or 3-loss Georgia. What a bizarre scenario for Clemson, by the way, right? They blow the game to South Carolina. They lose that, like a rivalry game. They lose that game. So they're all depressed and everybody's like upset. And then you back end your way, because Miami craps themselves. You back end your way in to the conference championship game, and then you might make the playoff. Like, that is a wild scenario and a wild setup. Here's the other thing too, you guys. Love from Fayetteville, Arkansas. We don't get a lot of that these ways. Here's the way I'm looking at this. The difference between Notre Dame hosting a game in South Bend in wintry weather, hosting Arizona State or an Iowa State roster versus even a 3-loss Georgia is night and day. I look at those are 100% different scenarios, fully complete. Like, I can't even process how different it is when I'm looking at those rosters. It isn't about, for me at that point, it isn't about how many losses they have. It's about roster talent. And you cannot compare Georgia's roster talent, even in 3 losses and cold weather, to anything Iowa State or Arizona State has. So if you just want to look at roster, that's the way it is. Do you guys think we'll punish Mills for the punch? Who? You didn't say who. Who's going to do the punishing? If you look at the full film, yeah, it's not a good look. The other guy shouldn't have messed with our guy first. That's the way it is. So I don't know if he did it totally on his own. Yes, he deserves to be disciplined. In reaction to a guy doing something in first, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, it's not a good look, but I got to have my guy defend himself too. It wouldn't. Oh, the NCAA, it wouldn't surprise me. I don't trust anything they do. Kidding me? I don't trust anything they do. Nothing at all. 626. So let's start us off today. What's going on?
John?
Yeah.
Do you hear me?
Yep.
I'm sorry, man. I lost my voice. I went to the game this weekend.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love to hear that, man. Yeah, I got you. How was it? What was the split? It seemed like there was more people there than I expected. Was there a lot of Notre Dame people?
Oh, yeah, there was. But, I mean, I got to give it to SC, man. They showed up, they wanted to spoil our weekend, man. They wanted to be spoilers, They wanted to destroy our chances to get into the playoffs. So they showed up,
I give them a lot of credit.
We got there about.
I give them a lot of credit. Dude, they played their asses off. They played a lot. They never quit. They played hard. They got athletes. It's pretty. I got to give them credit, man. They didn't quit at all.
Yeah, it's funny because, we got there about 9 in the morning. We were tailgating because I got family that are all SC fans. I got friends that are all SC fans. So we're there. We're there with our, green and blue, gold and blue, and got the ND football. We're walking around. We're going to both tailgates. And, they're just talking, saying, oh, you guys haven't played anybody. They kept bringing up the NIU loss. I'm like, all right, you guys wait for it. You guys wait for it. We'll see what's going on. I say, your Big Ten conference doesn't impress me. You guys have all played each other, and you guys haven't beat anybody out of conference. Their best conference wins are, Boise State and West Virginia and Western Michigan? Come on.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And you know what else, too? It's welcome to the Big Ten. Welcome to the Big Ten. All that travel, every week's a different challenge. The Maryland and Minnesota are bad road losses, and it just feels like that's where it's like welcome to the Big Ten. And every week, if you're not zoned in, something bad could happen. Those two really stand out for me. But we got to remember, SC, all their losses, they were winning in the fourth quarter, and they were one-score games. And I kept mentioning that they didn't get blown out or lay down at all this year. So they couldn't finish. They couldn't finish, and that's a totally different problem. And the other thing, I want to throw this line in the water. I want to throw the line in the water. I brought it up on Patreon a week ago. I'm throwing the line in the water again. I think it got mentioned here. Is there any scenario where Lincoln Riley is so frustrated with the recruiting and how things are going in the new Big Ten that he throws his hat in the ring to go coach the Bears and reunite with Caleb Williams, who he helped get a Heisman, who is the prize of the entire Bears franchise right now? And they just fired their defensive head coach. They may want to go with an offensive guy. I'm just throwing a line in the water. I have seen crazier things happen in my football life than that one. I'm just throwing that line in the water.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, because, I don't know, but USC, they've got athletes, man. What was nice to see, though, when we first got there, we were sitting with some pretty good USC fans for the most part. There was a couple knuckleheads that were there that were, like, just annoying. But we had a lot of Notre Dame faithful around, so that was cool. But it was nice to see Notre Dame shut them down in that first drive. You know what I'm saying? On 4th and short, man, that was so awesome. And then to see Notre Dame go back out there and take their first possession and score. And then they shut them down again on their second possession. So I'm thinking, there you go. That's what an elite defense does, But then they got that turnover. That turnover, if that doesn't happen by Jaden Harrison, I really feel that Notre Dame just steamrolls them. Because that led to their touchdown, which that was questionable touchdown in my book too. I just think it gave them life. You know what I'm saying? Because if Notre Dame goes downfield, scores another touchdown on their second possession, they're up 14-0.
Yeah.
And
yep.
And they're playing well. They're playing well. To see Jeremiah Love leap that dude, man, that was freaking cool.
Listen,
man.
This was what a rivalry game was like, where they literally say, throw the records out. It's going to be physical and an all-day battle. And you know what? You saw that across the country, man. It was heated. And I'm glad Notre Dame got out of there. Now, listen, maybe tell me if you thought this too, my friend. That since the initial rush has calmed down, I'm thinking of things more clearly. Maybe it's just like people said, NIU was a wake-up call in a way for this team and staff. Maybe it's a good thing you finished with USC and it wasn't a landslide and an easy thing for you. Maybe that's a benefit to this team going in the playoff to make them realize, yeah, we're good, but we still, there were some things we didn't do so great. We didn't totally dominate. A part of me maybe likes the idea that we got challenged on the way out of the regular season to remind us that there are going to be teams here that could match up with you a little better than the bulk of this schedule. I don't mind that.
No, I totally agree with that point, John, because like I said, like we both agree, USC has athletes. And that's one of the things that those guys kept saying, oh, we got athletes, man. You guys are going to find out. We got athletes. And I said, I know you guys do, but you know what? Notre Dame does also. And it was just such a great competitive game. I never felt in doubt that the game was in their hands because Notre Dame dominated. USC started answering, but Notre Dame kept, they kept answering also every time they answered. So
Yeah.
and then to see Christian Gray do that interception, there's that defense. I said, that's right. There's that defense right there.
Yep. And
you know, take it 99.
You know what else?
And then Xavier Watts take it 100. Oh my gosh, dude! Everybody was, man. That's when they all started leaving, John.
Okay, now let me ask you this. Now wait, I got to ask you though, because I am not certain if you were able to see this while you were at the game the way we did on TV. Did you notice that Watts was punking the entire USC sideline when he was, did you in the stadium, did you realize he was staring down their entire sideline?
I'm telling you, man, we just started saying, okay, goodbye.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Every day all started leaving. Man.
He was
that last touchdown was just trash.
Dude, but Watts being in LA and just stunning on them to their face down the sideline was just amazing. And then here's the thing with Christian Gray. Not his best day at the office. He had some frustrating plays, some frustrating penalties, and he was getting picked on a lot of the day. He did not have his best day. But just like this team from week 2 on the full redemption tour, I was so proud of him to be able to get redemption for what was a rough day, but he made up with it with the game-saving play when they were going in to tie the game. It mirrored so much of what this season's been for Notre Dame with the redemption and the comeback. I loved that part of this, and I was happy for the kid. He had a chance. And there was a tough interception to make, your body going one way, going behind you, and then to not be down at the 1 yard line and run it back. That is a redemption story that reminds me of the old team, and I'm proud of him for that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You hit it right on the nail. I was perplexed by Golden's scheme. I just wish they would have been able to put more pressure on
this is fair. This is fair. Now, listen, when this is a part of this, when I say we need to sit back and really look at the next few weeks where we're at and what these matchups in the playoff look like. If you're looking at areas of improvement that are needed, I think everybody would agree. You didn't get near enough pressure is what you wanted with your defensive front. I agree. It's a concern moving forward. It is.
But it was an amazing experience, man. It was awesome being there. At the end, we went to look for the buses. Got to meet Freeman, got to meet Denbrock, we got to meet Bryce Young, Jalen Schneed, Xavier Watts. Oh, dude, it was freaking cool, man. It was so
well, listen, like I've been telling, we had a few callers that were also at the game Saturday night, and I got to tell you, I love anybody that's represent Notre Dame all the way out there, whether you live there or travel from somewhere else to go there. We need those type of people. There's enough of me and Tom Frawley and Pat Cotters in the Midwest and in the Chicago area or the South Bend area, whatever. We need people and representation all over like you guys. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing, man. I'm glad you represented. I'm glad you ended up having a good day. Anything else, man? What a great call to start the day.
No, it was just awesome. Like, we were blessed to be there, my wife and my son and myself, and it was just awesome, man. And but thank you, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate what you do, and let's go get that national championship.
Hey, now's the time to get greedy, man. Now you're in it. You got to be in it to win it. Once you're in it, you may as well win it. I don't know. I don't know, man. I love it. Hey,
none of those teams scare me, John.
I love it. I love it. Hey, stay in touch, man. Thanks a lot. I'm glad you were at the game. I'm glad you and the family got to enjoy this. Thanks so much. What a great show. You want to know one of the things? I can't even deny this, you guys. One of the things that the LSU YouTubers are making fun of me for is my voice. I can't. It's funny because I can't help it, man. I know I have all these different inflections and levels of the deep growl type thing, the always Irish. And then I have this high pitch thing. I'm all over the place. I understand. I don't even blame them for that. I can't even, that's one of the things I was getting made fun of for on their shows. I can't even blame them. I'm not even mad. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's all, hey, this is an entertainment product, you guys. So, you play with the voice thing where you can. What is Brian Kelly's handicap? His personality, primarily. But if we're talking about golf, he strikes me as somebody who plays from the red tees. No, Quantum. No. Absolutely wrong. If you know anything about golf, you'll know this. I got Brian Kelly pegged. Brian Kelly is playing from the tips when he shoots 92. That's Brian Kelly. Guaranteed. Brian Kelly plays from the tips. What's the tips? I'm going from the blues. Make the course as hard as possible and then shoots 94, but thinks he should be playing from the tips. That's Brian Kelly. I've said it before. I'll say it again. If your active head, not retired, if your active head football coach is a good golfer, you got the wrong guy. I'll say it again. If your active college head coach is a good golfer, you got the wrong guy. Golf takes too much maintenance week in, week out to be really, really sharp and good at it. It's a sign they're playing too much golf. I'm telling you, it's a sign you're playing too much golf. I'm going back to the calls. Believe it. Yeah, Goolsby told that story of Ty was literally practicing his chipping while those guys were working out in the facility. Like you can't make it up. You can't. Blake said you sound like the Aladdin parent. I gotta watch Aladdin again. I haven't watched Aladdin in a long time since I was a little kid. I'm just glad to know that I'm getting in these guys' minds so much. I'm just Roger Dodgers says 92 from the tips is not that good. Yeah, that's my point. That's my point, Dodger, is that Brian Kelly's the guy who insists on playing from the tips but can't break 90 because his ego won't allow him to play from the whites. His ego won't allow him to play from the whites. It's hilarious. John's more of a frozen guy. With a 4-year-old daughter, you bet. We got all the dresses and the songs and the this and the that. It's just, it's amazing. So yeah, maybe I do sound like the character from Aladdin or whatever. That's fine. I don't care. I'm just glad to know they're so mad. The arguments made on some of these shows are that of a Cro-Magnon with an alcohol drinking disorder. There's no other way for me to put it. Some of the argumentation employed by these SEC shows, especially the LSU ones, it's logic that could only be applied if you're literally a drunk Sasquatch. It's so surface level Neanderthal thinking. There's no nuance. There's no consideration of anything other than the main SEC angle. And it's unbelievable. Your voice is music to Irish ears. You better go to the doctor. Get your ears checked. I'm going to repeat this. It is a compliment to that my stupid voice is bothering LSU YouTubers. Think about everything that's had to go wrong in the world of LSU, that they're wasting time on their show talking about me. Yeah, like this is all a win. There is no part of me that's like, I'm mad that they were talking crap about me. No, every bit of it is a win. It's beautiful. It's exactly what I want. I got SEC shows making fun of my voice because we're so in their head that they're failing and we're succeeding. Life doesn't get any better for me. The Wells Lamont player of the game is Reggie Brooks, who had the hot hand today. Our defense is straight. It's a rivalry game. Back-to-back road games with the holiday thrown in the middle. We get healthy. We shock the world. There you go. From the Wells Lamont player of the game. Yeah, I'm open to that. Johnny, me lad, you seem a little cranky this morning. Are you a wee bit sleep deprived? It was 3:45. I hit the pillow. It was 3:45 Saturday night into Sunday. There were so many article ideas. I wrote 12 articles in like between that game and morning, 12 articles. When the synapses fire, when you got a messed up brain like I got, when the synapses fire, you better keep writing before it all goes away. So I came up with 12 different articles to write, and then they'll get spread out through today and whatever, and I don't know. But my brain is a weird place, and when I'm hitting, you got to take advantage. Otherwise, there's no way. There's no way. This is hilarious, Commander. You're not wrong. I'm going right back to the calls. When John did his face reveal back in the day, that's how I know Commander's been around a while. When John did his face reveal back in the day, everybody was laughing, saying the voice didn't match his body. What does that even mean? John, do you remember that? Here's what I think it was. I think it's because I was back when I was doing audio only, because I didn't want to get fired from the Catholic Church for having everybody know what I was saying about Brian Kelly. That was back where I was F words and I was letting it rip because I was new to everything. And I didn't want to get fired from the diocese, which would happen if they knew it was me saying all that. So I kind of I didn't do my thing, but I was pounding on the desk and I was yelling at Kelly. It was the middle of 2016. I was losing my mind yelling at Kelly and all this. And I think that's the image people had, as some big Irish tough guy banging the counter and yelling all the time. And then when I showed my face and realized the only way to blow this up is to do video and do it that way, I think people just expected some big tough guy, not some Skeletor in his basement. What? Also, you want to know what else threw me off? Something else that threw me off is there was a lot of F-bombs on the postgame show. Everybody was in a good mood and they were dropping F-bombs. I wasn't used to it. We got more F-bombs from this than we did when we lost. I think people just drink and it slips out. Sly Fox, they love your Fire Marshal Bill. Hey, let me show you something. I'm telling you, that Fire Marshal Bill character will never not be funny to me. You just look at his face. Hey, kids, let me show you something. I love it. I absolutely love it. Also, Mark with glasses is mentioning Mike McDonald. Telling you, it made my day during the Notre Dame USC game. Straight up West Coast. They were playing West Coast songs. They hit the regulators. Give the credit to Warren G, but Warren G took the beat from Michael McDonald. I keep forgetting we're not in love anymore. I keep forgetting Brian Kelly recruits from the golf course. Anyways, let's go back to the calls. I'm going to tell you this. I don't know how you describe this show, but I do know this. There ain't nothing like it. You may hate it. You may think I'm nuts, but there ain't nothing else like this show. I'm telling you that right now. You will never find another college football show with this vibe. Forget it. It doesn't exist. You will never, ever see it. Chicago's very own Tom Frawley. What's going on?
Hey, good morning. Speaking of swearing, I went over the F-bomb limit Saturday night after the game, so I apologize. I already went to confession and everything. So,
Tom, listen, man, I think you're entitled to break character here, break serve. If there was ever a night, and you know what it is, you were all fine, and then at the end, you just let it rip, and it all came out. Like, just let it out, brother. Let it out, brother. I got triggered by that. Yes, I got triggered by Snoop Dogg and the celebrities on the sideline for USC. But anyway, so here, what I wanted to say real quick, you got to go to the game. If you get a chance, now I already told Pat that I'm working on tickets. I've got 4 sources, and so that we're paying face value. We're not paying juice on the ticket. Yeah.
There's a $15 ticket fee. And 2 of the sources are season ticket holders that aren't going to be able to come in to the game. And they say that actually benefits us because it being so close to Christmas, and other than the jet setters that will go down, they're already jacking the hotel rooms up. I mean, you know that Four Winds Casino down there in South Bend go for $700.
Yeah, I bet.
And I get it. So, I mean, even the Holiday Inn in like LaPorte, Michigan City, jacked it up.
Tom,
they know that it's.
Tom, here's the thing, man. Here's the thing, dude. I'm in a weird in between. But my heart, Tom, my heart wants to be in the stands with Dr. John with the people. You know what I'm saying? Like with the people.
I get it.
But I got to see what the deal is with the work side of it and like what the expectations are there or not or whatever. I don't know about that. And then the other thing is I'm going to want to be in town a few days to do some content. And then I got to figure out the accommodation part because it's only a 2-hour drive, but I don't feel like making it 3 or 4 days that week. So I'm trying to figure out, I have a lot of logistics to figure out. And then my heart's in the stands with the people, but the work may be in a booth where there's a heater. I don't know that. I don't know all the realities yet. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. The too many, and there's a lot of firsts here, right? So,
yeah.
If of course the weather, the weather concerns, obviously. So,
so there's just, Tom, there's a lot to figure out for everybody because it's all new. Nobody's been through this before. Right. Everything is a new world. It's a new horizon. So everybody's trying to be like, what do you do? And Tom, I totally admit some of these plans I could have got ahead of and I avoided because I really, really felt like I was tempting fate by starting to plan a bunch of things. And then we play bad against Southern Cal and it's the ultimate letdown. I refused to do it. So I avoided getting ahead of these plans, which means now it's crunch time. But I'm fine with that decision because I wouldn't be able to live with myself having all these accommodations booked and I'm dreaming of Rudolph flying around the stadium and then it all comes crumbling down at USC. I couldn't do it. So I didn't do it.
Well, so I was on a conference call yesterday with my crew of guys and then the 2 alumni and the 2 season ticket holders that are helping us with the tickets. And here's what they're thinking. Because it's so close to Christmas and there's going to be a lot of people that don't live close that are not going to make it. So what they're doing is they're trying to get tickets. So the way I understand it is the season ticket holders are getting first crack at the tickets. Then it's the alumni, then it's general admission, right? So that being said, and this speaks to the class of a lot of the season ticket holders. They don't want, so they're not going to scalp them and put them in the open market. A lot of them aren't, and they want to help us get tickets because that's what they told me. They flat out said, we don't want to resell it. We don't care about the extra money for that game.
Yeah.
And they want as many Notre Dame fans as there is possible.
Yeah, that's good.
So, you know what? Because we know the downside of that. That phenomenon started in 2000 or the 1999 Nebraska game. Remember when that was all red?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
The whole state of Nebraska showed up.
Well, I don't think you're going to have that problem here. And the other thing is the time crunch, Tom. The time crunch has a lot to do with this. This is not a year-long thing where, Clemson people could plan to come to South Bend for a year and plan it. Like this is coming out of a few weeks. And I'm telling you, the weather is going to keep some people that normally would go. This is not 70. Exactly, this is not 74 degrees Ohio State in early September. The wine and cheesers that are going to have access to these tickets, Tom, you know what I think is going to happen? The wine and cheesers have first dibs for these tickets. They're going to claim them, but they're going to bequeath them to their mid-20s son and their drunk friends that are going to go to the game. Keep it in the family. Yeah. The parents don't have to go and be cold. Keep the money and the credibility of having somebody go. They're going to give them to their kids in their 20s. Those are the ones that are going to drink the beer and show up and be loud. And I am here for that. I love that plan, and I'm here for Tom. The rich people I know, they're not doing it, Tom. The rich people I know on my side of the Indiana-Illinois border that have access to these tickets, there's no chance in hell they're going to freeze their asses off in this temperature. They're not doing it. There's no status in the world of them saying, I went to it. It's going to make it worth it. They're not doing it. So they're going to get the tickets. They're going to give them to clients. Right. They're going to give them to their kids and want to drink and don't mind the cold. That's what's going to happen. That's my prediction.
And the other thing is what we talked about is that there'll be a lot of tickets that will open up like last minute. So 2, 3, even the morning of the game, 2 or 3 days before the game and the morning of the game, you'll see that happen because of what you just said.
Yeah.
So for anybody out there that lives close or wants to take a chance to come,
Yeah.
there's going to be tickets. So what I will do, I will make a promise, because that's what happens to me. If they're like Tex ND, he already asked me about accommodations and things like that. I'll keep I already put my number up, my cell phone number on there. So if people are coming in and they want to reach out and see what's available last minute, call me. I'll usually find out.
Yeah.
Because it's the strangest thing. And I understand the magnitude of the game, but also the heavy Notre Dame alumni that you're talking about, I think they're hedging, and they would rather go see the
Interesting.
game, a second round or a third round game.
And you're assured,
in a warmer climate.
Yeah. Tom, I've thought about this. How do regular people plan to follow their team if they make a 4-game run? It's nearly impossible. You would be breaking the bank every single week, because week by week you have to make totally new plans on the fly for travel, ticket, and accommodations and entertainment. And you got to do that for all these games. I don't think that's in the cards, except for the elite of the elite that have nothing else to do and all the time and the money in the world. What that's going to end up is being more regional people piling in that are just jumping in from that area, because there's no other practical way to do that, to navigate this. That you can't do it.
Well, no, and I think that's why I said if I'll stay in contact. Like, I'm staying in contact with Patrick, and then if you decide to make the move, just let me know. And we'll figure something out. But I understand your logistics are a lot different.
Well, did you end up?
You've got to know.
Did you lock in hotels or Airbnbs, or what do you think you're going to do?
No. I have a buddy that owns a house 19 miles northwest of Notre Dame Stadium in Buchanan, Michigan, and we're going to stay there. Normally, 90% of the time, I just drive back to Chicago.
Yeah.
But because it's going to be a night game, and I'd be the designated driver because most of the guys are going to be drinking. So
there you go.
But we don't have to worry about that because, we're staying over at my pal's house. So
that's a good hookup. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. Tom, I appreciate you being willing to be a resource for this. One more question for you about this, and I don't know the answer. Maybe it matters. How much will this market and the demand for these tickets change if it's a 3-loss Georgia team or something versus Arizona State or something like that? Like, how much of a variance in will it be in that matchup, or is it's history of Notre Dame? It doesn't matter. The demand's going to be outrageous. I have a hard time not thinking if it ended up being a Georgia team, it isn't going to cost more than Arizona State. I have a hard time believing that in the second market. You know what I mean?
The more discerning the Notre Dame fan, like a lot of the alumni, and I'm not casting aspersions, it's just that they're more discerning, and then they would think, and usually they have more resources financially to go to the later rounds. I think what you're going to see, they could be playing the Little Sisters of the Poor. I'm going.
Yeah.
So all the Rabid fans like me will be there.
Yeah.
It's and they may travel. So I don't know. It just depends. But being 4 days from Christmas, that helps us.
Yeah.
And I think the ticket market will open up, so we'll see. But, and then just waiting to find out. I don't get caught up in all the machinations about, tomorrow night's college football playoff committee show on ESPN, because that's just going to be more Notre Dame shade. I actually can't wait to hear what those morons have to say about Notre Dame.
Yeah.
They barely escaped USC, and it's like, okay, pump the brakes, guys. Jesus, Mary.
Yeah, it is whatever. It doesn't matter what they say now. Notre Dame just keeps. I think the big thing we're looking for tomorrow is, do you jump Penn State? And that seems to be the biggest angle for Notre Dame right now is, do you jump Penn State? And were they teeing it up last week for Notre Dame to do it if they beat USC more handily, whatever. So that's what I'm going to see.
But the 5 seed plays 11 and 6 plays, or the 5 seed plays 12 and the 6 plays seed 11, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think the 6th seed is what we really want, because it's a clearer path to the later rounds, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not even going to get into it. I'm not acting like I'm a bracketologist.
Yeah,
I don't know,
it's too
Tom.
hard. Yeah.
I got to have some of these younger guys
Yeah.
with a quicker brain figure it out for me and tell me. I need a cheat sheet, you guys. I need a cheat sheet
Yeah,
to
you do.
know who to root for and against this weekend to benefit us best. I don't know. So that's what I need. Hey,
So
you know,
we really want, but we are pulling. We got to pull for Texas, right? Saturday against Georgia.
yeah, well, unless Georgia loses and then you play them in round one, does anybody want that Georgia roster? Maybe some people do, but if it's a choice between Arizona State or Georgia, I'd rather Notre Dame face Arizona State's roster in the first round myself. Right? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm confused about.
I don't think it really matters.
I don't know.
I don't think it matters, especially. And one real quick point. So I've watched the USC game 3 times already. And going back, you know what they were doing on defense? There was a lot of miscommunication because they were bouncing out of man coverage and going to zone cover 3. So that's why they started picking on Christian Gray. Now, if you remember, he made 3 real good plays in the first two times USC had the ball. And all of a sudden, they started switching and picking underneath him. And there was miscommunication. They were bouncing out of man coverage and going to zone cover 3. So, you know what? Hats off to Lincoln Riley. He called a hell of a game. And that quarterback was throwing dimes.
Yeah.
I mean, that, you know, outside of the 2 pick sixes, obviously. But what he was dropping some NFL-type balls. Yeah. So, you know, I think they'll clean that up. I know they'll clean it up. They got 3 weeks. And if that Mitch Jeter can kick and split the uprights on extra points, the 30 and 40-yard field goal should be no problem.
Yeah.
He's got to just figure that out.
Man, maybe you would hope. I know it's cold out, but maybe you hope a few weeks will help him feel more confident and comfortable in that leg or whatever, because you got to figure that problem out too. You got to figure that problem out too.
Yes. Have them outside the Goog kicking every day in this weather.
Tom, you cannot have this entire Notre Dame thing where it's at in these moments, and then you can't make a basic chip shot field goal as the reason something dumb happens. Like, you just can't allow that. It would be devastating to come this far and have it come down and fall short due to that. Tom, I love you jumping in here. I love your willingness to help out the group. We all need to stay in touch. This is just new territory to put all these plans together on the fly or whatever. And so thanks for offering to be a resource for the group.
You got it. Talk to you later, guys.
Yeah,
be good.
Tom, I'll talk to you off the air about putting some of this together. Thanks.
Sounds great.
Yeah, have a good one, buddy. Man, that guy loves Notre Dame. That guy loves Notre Dame football so much. Ryan Roberts says he'll be at the playoff game. Hope to see everybody. I believe Ryan lives out northeast somewhere. If maybe I'm making that up. I don't know why that's in my head. Northeast somewhere, used to the cold. Ain't going to bother him. Isn't going to bother him. Wells Lamont, player of the game. Rodney with the $2 holler. I'll be at the tailgate. I hope Oregon smokes Penn State. The Wells Lamont, player of the game again. I'm glad they're downplaying our D. It's motivation. Man, I'm telling you. Listen, I just hope you guys would understand if I got to be the game. Like, this is just, it's history. I'm 2 hours away. A part of me feels like I'm going to need to feel like I need to be there. And then we will do a call-in show and I'll write all my articles when I get back. Like, I'm sorry. It's just, it's kind of history. And I feel like if I have a chance to do that, I need to do that. Look at this. John K., $100 holler. See you in the playoffs. Who's John K.? Me? Sounds a lot like John Kennedy. Who is that? Me? Thanks a lot, John K. And I'm not being rude. I genuinely do not recognize this screen name as somebody that interacts with this show a lot. I don't know. So people are saying, Johnny, you got to go. Did you donate to yourself as a money launderer? Yeah, like behind the scenes. I don't know. Whoever that is, I love you. Thank you. Yeah, you're donating to the playoff fund here, man. 260, Rodney, I got you next. What's going on? If you're on hold, you're going to be on the air. 260, what's going on? 26. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Gotcha.
Okay. No one has said anything about the fact that USC has been up in the fourth quarter all year long, except for Saturday.
Yeah, that's interesting. Now, I know you said nobody said it. I wrote about it and talked about it repeatedly, that they were winning each of the games they lost in the fourth quarter, and they were all determined by one score or less. I repeatedly wrote and talked about it. I just think it's a better roster than what their record shows. They have more athletes. They still need more help on both lines, but they have the same great twitchy West Coast athletes you're used to them having.
You know, and one thing that I'm also not hearing a lot about that has me excited beyond this world is the fact that we have one of the youngest rosters in college football. And yet we're going to host a playoff game. We're like, what, the third or fourth highest chance of winning the national championship this year with one of the youngest. No one's got a roster young as we do. Our future is so bright. So bright.
That's a really good point. And here's the thing, man. I have been asking repeatedly what Notre Dame coach and group of players are going to be the one to break through and do something different, erase the 30 years of big bowl game misery, like really achieve something and break through whatever that dark cloud is. It's been hanging over the program in postseason play since for 30 years, literally. I keep asking, well, who's that team and who's that special coach going to be? Maybe it's these guys. Maybe it's these guys.
It has to be us.
You know, why not?
It has to be us. You know, I'm just beyond words excited.
Yeah.
I'm honestly trying to figure out if we go to the national championship game this year. I'm trying to figure out whether I want to go to Chicago, because you know they're going to have a massive party out there, or actually come up with the funds to go to the game down in Atlanta.
Yeah, it's oh man, I'm not even wrapping my mind around that yet. Here's the way I'm really thinking about it. I see two main goals of the season have already been achieved. Making the playoff regardless of record, you did that. Maneuvering yourself into an advantageous home hosting round one seed, you did that as well. Those are two big feathers in Freeman's cap. That alone is a big two accomplishments. The next one is you knock off that 30-year big bowl game drought, and you need to win. You need to win this first game, and then you're knocking off that 30-year big game thing. That's done. And then you get real greedy and go, let's just make a run and go for it all, baby. That's the way I see it.
That's exactly the way I see it, too. And I mark my words. If we win it this year, we will win at least 2 out of the next 3, including this year.
Man, look at you. Don't you think you're getting out there a little bit, man? It's making me uncomfortable how much confidence you have here. I'm getting a little weirded out by it. I'm happy. I like it. I'm not poo-pooing it.
I don't know how much truth is in this.
It's just throwing me off a little.
I don't know how much truth in this, but I have heard that we have the youngest roster in Power 4. So whether that's true or not, we have one of the youngest. We're the youngest in the top 5. That's without a question.
Yeah, that is a good. Why
can't we?
Yeah.
If we want it this year, why can't we do it either next year or the year after?
Yeah, and again,
please answer that for me.
Here's something else I want to ask. Is, and I asked it at the beginning of the show, and I'm going to ask it again now that you're bringing up these high-level results. I want to know at what level of winning do you start to appeal to more recruits that are kind of interested in Notre Dame, but ultimately go somewhere else? I just wonder, what level of winning would it take for you to win some of those battles by having more big game postseason credibility than we have now? And I don't know the answer to that. I'm just throwing that out there for the group. It's just something I've been thinking about yesterday.
If we do it this year, I guarantee our 2026 recruiting class will go through the roof.
Well, by do it, what do you mean by do it? You mean a championship? I'd certainly hope if you won a championship, it would. But that's obvious. I'm asking what interval. That's obvious. But what interval level in between that? Like if you win a championship, obviously that's going to raise the appeal. But I'm asking Is the level we achieve now enough to do that? Or do you got to win a playoff game at home and people see how cool that is? I'm wondering what levels in between that, if any, would change the mind of some of these borderline, do I want to go to Notre Dame or not? I don't know the answer. I don't know.
I honestly think we would have to make the 4 in order to really make a serious push going forward in recruiting.
Yeah.
Now, you were also asking, what do we want to happen? We want Penn State to lose, and we want SMU to beat Clemson. Those 2 things we absolutely want, because
I find the Clemson experience completely bizarre. The Clemson thing is so bizarre to me.
That's gonna lock up our number 5 seed for us. And if we do that, we would get Arizona State in the first round. We would play Boise State in the second round, and then we're off to the Final Four.
Man, I can't even. But why am I seeing people say it's really likely? Notre Dame could easily play Georgia round 1. That's a totally different road and a different roster you got to run through than what you just said. So what has to happen for us to play Georgia in round 1?
Well, if we don't get the 5 seed, then it's possible we play Georgia. But Arizona State, I'm convinced is going to have that 12 seed. So if we get the 5, we play Arizona State.
This is going to be, could you imagine getting a desert team like that in South Bend that time of the year and that roster? Wow. Yeah, it would be really, really interesting. Anything else, my friend? Thanks for calling me on a Monday. Like the energy, like the positivity.
No, I'm just super excited about what our future holds. I'm still up in the air whether we can really win it all this year. But if we don't, I think definitely in the next 2 years after that, I would be sorely disappointed if we didn't, because I think we have the roster going forward to make that happen. Everyone talks about history. One bit of history that I want to share with everybody: there's never been a black head coach ever win a national championship. Marcus Freeman will change that. I'm saying it right here, right now. Marcus Freeman will be the one to make that happen.
I never even really thought of that angle. Now that I think about it, I never really thought of that angle.
It's true, though.
Could you imagine the history that would make, culturally speaking, if that was able to be done? That'd be a big damn deal. It was a big deal when he got hired for this job. Some national media were saying that they thought this was a big deal for him to get the Notre Dame job. That would be a big cultural thing, man. That's a good thing to bring up.
And I'm telling you right now, my heart of heart, I believe that Marcus Freeman will be the one to make that happen.
Man, I hope
100% believe that.
I hope you're right. And if it happens, I'm throwing one hell of a party in, and everybody's invited. I've been saying that forever. Me and Pat, we're renting somewhere and having the party of all parties, whether it's in South Bend or Chicago or somewhere in between. If Notre Dame wins a championship while I'm still doing this, we are having the biggest party of all time, and you're all invited. So everybody just know that now. Okay? Hold me to it. Have a good Monday.
I'm there.
Have a good Monday. Thanks for the call. Good stuff.
Hey, can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
Can I add one more thing before I leave?
Yeah.
Think about, I know you've heard the song My President by Young Jeezy.
Okay. I didn't see that coming.
Right?
I didn't see that coming. Okay.
But wait. I'm making a point here. When he's talking about where Obama won, he said, we won in California. We just did that. He said, landslide in Atlanta. Where's the national championship at?
Oh, man. That's a different level.
There's a little bit of irony in that.
That's a different level. I like where you're thinking. Let's see if it happens. Have a good Monday. Thanks, buddy. You are, that dude's making me think all different sides of different kinds of ways. Let's see. John K. Enjoyed your show. Figured I could start the Johnny K playoff fund. Your voice encouraged me to join the chats. Go Parrot. I appreciate that. That's pretty funny. I don't disagree. Like, I know I have a weird voice at times. John, I'll send you the location of my tailgate for the playoff game. Let's get after it. Mikey, are we really doing that? Are you going? What's the deal, man? North lot or what? North lot or what? Oh, man. There's just a lot of new news going on. This is just all new territory. It's absolutely wild. I wanted to drop one thing in here for us to think about. A long time, Mikey, we need to hang out then if you're going, for sure, if you're making that trip. A long time football thing you hear in the professional ranks and college is eventually programs take over the personality of their head coach. You always hear that from football people that have been in locker rooms and around these programs, professional and college. They say that eventually the personality of the coach ends up permeating the team in the locker room, and that's kind of the product you end up getting, and how teams carry themselves or whatever. If this year's team is any indication of that rubbing off from Marcus Freeman, I think you're in a good spot. I love the mentality that these guys have. Confidence, but not over cocky, and they back it up and they hit hard and they play hard for each other. It's a good balance of loose fun and like seriousness. Like, if that's the case and this is what it's going to be under Freeman, like that work ethic, and like, I'm here for it. I'm definitely here from it. Let's go back to the phone line, shall we? Rodney, what's up? Thanks for the donation, buddy. If you're on hold, you're going to be on the air. Thanks for the donation, Rodney.
Oh man, what a night Saturday night turned out to be. By the way, I've got a couple things I just thought of. Man, there's no question in my mind that scuffle. I mean, here I am watching this Michigan-Ohio State game right before Notre Dame starts playing. And I'm like, I'm giving Michigan credit. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it's about to happen here. Ohio State's going to get beat 13-10. And then the scuffle on the field, I'm like, oh my God. And then they go and they ruin it. Like trying to plant a flag. Of course they ruined their own moment. And I'm just thinking to myself, that would never happen to us. I would never see something like that happen to us, man. So just one more reason I'm glad to have Marcus Freeman as a head coach. John, I just looked something up. I got another thing to say. Not only has an African-American coach never won a national championship, neither has a Korean coach. And Marcus Freeman's half Korean.
It's interesting. A couple people wrote in the chat, like, who cares, when that came up on the last call. Yeah, I'm saying, no, listen, what I'm saying is, you may not care. Culturally, though, there's a lot of people that would. Like, you may not care or value that individually, like whoever you are. But big picture culturally, that would be a big deal. And again, it would be another unique part of history. So there would be a part of it.
And with identity politics in the last several years being such a big thing and all that, here's what's great about it. Here's a person whose content of character matches what we like to see, right? Yep. So it's like,
that's a guy you want to root for.
Me, man.
Listen, Rodney.
Regardless of where this playoff thing goes, we have made the very first inaugural playoffs, a 12-team, the very first one to ever be played on college campuses. We are going to be one of the 4 teams representing that.
Yeah, it really is awesome.
So the very first time. To me, that's great.
Can I ask you this? I thought of this yesterday. I want to see if this has hit you as well as we've come down from the initial rush of all this news. The fact that we think Freeman's a good guy that genuinely works hard makes this, when they're succeeding, more fun, and it makes you value it more and like it more because you believe that guy earned it and has deserved it for the right reasons and how he operates. It feels different even than when Brian Kelly teams were kind of successful, but you still didn't know how you felt about him, but you were liking some of the results until you weren't. There's just a different feeling when you really feel like this guy's a good guy that you want to see do well. It just feels a little different to me personally.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, man.
And here's the other thing. It's funny you mentioned that, because I was actually thinking a lot about this last few days. It's so, I almost feel bad, and I mean this significant. And at the same time, I don't. Okay, but I almost feel bad for Brian Kelly, because let's be honest, he brought Freeman to Notre Dame. I'm not 100% convinced he didn't leave Notre Dame because he felt good knowing that we had someone there that we are probably going to hire. Remember when you found that clip of him saying, "This guy's going to be the next coach of Notre Dame," and everybody was like, "Oh, where did that come from?"
Now wait, Rodney, time out.
Yeah.
Thank you for remembering that. I challenge anyone in America to find anyone who said Freeman was going to be the next coach before I did. It was on the Golf Channel. Kelly let that slip. Golf Channel, in the middle of one of those summers, Kelly was getting interviewed and no football people were watching it. It was on the Golf Channel. And my dad said, Kelly said something weird. You better put it on. And he said, that's going to be the next head coach. And he let it slip. And that was it. Yeah, he tried to take him. That's the other thing, Rodney. He did try and take him. He tried to take him to LSU, and Freeman had bigger visions.
Yeah, he tried to take him to LSU. I get that. But I mean, I think that was just like, well, here's your job. But once Notre Dame decided to go in that direction, I'm sure he wasn't surprised. But
yeah,
either way, the bottom line is I still think, I'm not saying Kelly was planning on leaving that year or whatever, but look, we agreed when he left. It was kind of, it's turned out to be the best thing, well, at least the best thing for us. I think LSU's a good place for him if he can figure it out. But if they still want him, I don't know. But I'm just saying, man, Kelly was the guy who brought Freeman to Notre Dame initially. That probably never.
What happened?
I did it again. It's that damn call.
There.
Screen. I got to
You're
remember
good.
to always.
I got you. You're back.
I got to put that thing in the background. I got to put that damn call screen in the background because my cheekbone always hits the mute button. Okay.
You're back.
No, what I was saying is just the fact that we got to at least say, if Freeman is not brought to Notre Dame by Kelly, he probably never gets that job because he doesn't have the experience of being there and understanding what the place means. I mean, he was only there 1 year.
I think you're probably right.
So I'm just saying, man.
Yeah, you're right.
And again,
that's fair.
A lot of that's might not be as much about him as it is accidental. I don't know, but bottom line is, Kelly still brought Freeman here. He did raise the level of the program. I always try to give him credit for these kind of things because the problem is he gets in his own way. Like, I think people have been a lot more willing to give him credit for this stuff, and he just wasn't so abrasive. And so cocky. There's just something about Kelly. He obviously has had a lot to prove his whole life for one reason or another. But if he just got out of his own way, he'd be a lot more successful.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I am happy to acknowledge the positive things Kelly did for the program. He inherited a nightmare, and a lot of the infrastructure had to be built back up behind the scenes. And that is dirty, gritty work nobody sees, you get no credit for. Kelly took that on and did a lot of the work to rebuild that initially. And then he did do a pretty solid job with the double rebuild after the 16 nightmare and tearing it down and doing it again.
Right.
He did. I will always credit Kelly for the good things he did. And then, there's another side of it too, but he did a lot of good things and inherited a bad situation and put it in a good spot. True. And the culture, Rodney, that's the other thing. He did end up leaving the place with a stable, steady, fairly healthy culture. There were some things I would want to change about it, but the culture was not toxic. And that is a big deal for a new coach to have to change if that's a problem. Kelly did leave that in a good spot, and I credit him for it. I'm fair. I'm fair with my critiques of him, and I'm going to be fair where I give him credit too.
Well, and then when Marcus Freeman took over, I think it was a lot easier for Marcus Freeman to then add to that culture because there was already, they call it the brotherhood. There was already that stemming at Notre Dame. So, yeah, give Kelly a lot of credit for that, for allowing the players to kind of create that culture and keep that thing going. And then when Freeman came in, he just added the cherry on top. Listen. We always agreed that there was probably going to be a step back before there was a step forward, and there was, but not a major step back. And that's, I think, the thing I've been most impressed by. Freeman has made such obvious improvement year to year. That 8-4 year, that 9-4 year, we thought was going to be a nightmare. When we were at mid-season, we thought we were going to lose 5 or 6 games probably, and he ended up salvaging that season. last year. After the Ohio State loss and the Louisville loss, I think a lot of us thought that thing was going downhill, and it didn't. I mean, they lost to Clemson, but they ended up with 10 wins. I'm like, okay, good job. Let's go in the next year. And then what he was able to do after NIU, I mean, has been pretty amazing. We'll see what happens in the playoffs start, but I have a really good feeling about where this program is going to be. We got a 3-week layoff. This is so interesting, John, because this is the first time this has ever happened. Before I get off, I wanted to ask you some questions about where do you think the playoff thing is going? I know we haven't even started it yet, but already my gut tells me there's going to be some changes. Okay. Is it really necessary to have a conference championship game at this point? I almost think you just take the team that winds up winning the conference, like it would have back in the day when they didn't have conference championships. To me, that's the automatic bid. They get that automatic bid. And then it should just be, the next 8 or whatever, 35 teams that are conference championship number fine. But then it should just be like the next 7. But I think it's probably going to expand. Here's my thoughts on it. It's probably going to end up going to a 16-team playoff. That's probably where it will end up, which feels kind of about right now. And I'm seeing all the, where we didn't think that would be a thing a few years ago, but it hasn't been as watered down as I thought. It's actually been a lot more parity. I think this thing goes to 16, and I think they're going to eliminate the buys, man. I think it's going to be just home. You get a home game, The other thing I thought that might be interesting that they may end up doing, especially to keep the conference championships, I wonder if we're going to give the committee some leeway in terms of how they match these teams up in rounds 2 and 3 and so forth. Like if it's going to, let's say the next round Notre Dame would, or let's say Michigan would end up playing Ohio State or something, let's just say, but they just played them. I wonder if they're going to allow them leeway where they can actually mix and match those matchups as long as the team that's the higher rank still gets the home game. I think that would be really interesting too, to kind of sort of leave a subjectivity to the way that they pair them. So it's not just automatic, this is the bracket, this is where they go. I would actually embrace that. Like, if this matchup shows a matchup if the next round shows a matchup that was already in the season, then they can actually switch it to another team. I'm just wondering the kind of things that are going to evolve as this playoff thing gets refigured out.
Really, really interesting. It's really interesting. And you don't know until you have some data to be able to look at. But you're right. You could argue you might be in a better position to be the number 5 than be fighting in a conference championship game or something, like to just be the number 5. I don't know.
Ohio State, you're almost better off. You're almost better off not having to play Oregon next week.
Yeah. Auto bids.
You just get beat by Michigan. You get clowned at home. And they're going to benefit from that?
Yeah.
It's just, then you have to go on the road, most likely. We'll see what happens. But
Ryan Day's lucky.
God.
Ryan Day's lucky that there's an expanded playoff, or this would be a different discussion if he was just done for. The auto bids, I have a feeling there's going to be a complaint about the auto bids. That some conferences are just more deserving than others. How are you going to do the auto bids? And then those home games, Rodney, if you get a few Southern teams that don't fare well in that cold weather, you are going to have people lobbying to get those things in domes. And I'm telling you, there's going to be a battle because Southern teams are not going to like having that disadvantage. And they're going to claim that that's not real football and whatever, and push to have those in neutral sites. So I don't know where it's all going to go, but you got to have data first before you even figure it out. So we're about to get some. And so let's see how it goes, man. Anything else? Thanks for jumping us off on a Monday.
No, man, I think I just covered everything. So, you're going to obviously be there then, or you're still debating it, but you're pretty much sure you're going to be there for the
Rodney,
right?
I got to be in town. I got to find a way I got to be there, man. And it's just too big of a...
Now, what about this mobile? Okay, now I know we're getting way ahead of ourselves. Are you planning on going to the game, or are you planning on doing the tailgate and then going back to be an Airbnb or whatever, or a bar or whatever?
I have none of those. I have none of these plans are figured out. And I have none of these plans figured out. And if somebody else is hosting a big tailgate and I can show up and be the entertainment, that would be more convenient for Johnny Boy, because this is a short window to set up a big tailgate. And my crew isn't all going to be there. So that's tough. So if somebody's putting together a good tailgate, let me know.
All right, man. Well, I'm going to go regardless, so I'll definitely be seeing you there. I can't wait.
Oh, this is going to be great, Rodney. Stay in touch, buddy. Thank you.
You got it. All right. Bye, John.
Have a good one. Man, Rodney's always got that damn Notre Dame energy. Nothing ever slows him down. $50 dollar from Always Irish Art. Do you think the networks will book the Saturday afternoon at night game slots for ratings? Again, I have no, I wouldn't be invited, Commander. Wouldn't be invited. Who knows how these games are booked and scheduled? I have no idea. I have no idea how they figure out who goes in what slot. It's a Friday, Saturday. How did they figure out which? Does it already out there? How do you know who plays Friday and who plays Saturday? How do you know who plays Friday and Saturday? How was that determined? I have no idea. These are all new things. I don't know. Did they get to pick? Hey, Notre Dame, this is going to be a big one. I have no idea. No idea. Always Irish Art. I really appreciate the $50 dollar there. I really, really do. Pat jumped in. Hey, what's going on? Anything good happen over the weekend? Only a couple things. A couple things there. I see Anders pushing back a little bit. Anders pushing back a little bit on the Brian Kelly stuff. Listen, man, I'm happy to give him credit for a lot of the good things that he did. But that doesn't make it enough to just keep cruising by with not high level results. Like, I'm sorry. It ran its course. It was like a relationship, man, where it was fine for a while and it just wasn't meant to be long term. And it just kind of ran into some speed bumps and it was just time to go separate ways. It was just time to go separate ways. So whatever, he did a lot of good things. And again, I'm going to repeat this. None of my animosity is towards the LSU program at all. I have nothing against the LSU program. I actually really think it's a unique culture they have down there. All my animosity is towards Kelly's personality and the way he treats people, laziness with doing the back end part of the business. And then the LSU media that all told us we were fools. Brian Kelly is perfect. He is the chosen Messiah. He is the chosen one. And I was told that once he got out of South Bend, he would be elite and be winning championships. All he needed to do is get away from small-timey Northern football. And I was told that he would be elite and dominating. That is what I was told. I was told I'm a fool for liking that he was gone and wanting to go another direction. And I'm happy to see all the SEC geniuses be proven incorrect. That's my position. I'm sticking to it. And right now, it looks totally justified. 949, you're on the line. What's going on?
Hey, Johnny boy. I can't believe it. I didn't call in Saturday. I was having some troubles with the phone. But let me bring you up to date on a couple of questions you've put out there just from a probable hypothetical. Put your slash in anywhere you want. Who determines when the games will be? That's going to be the network. Therefore, I doubt that Notre Dame will have a night game. They'll probably put West Coast teams at 4:30ish, so that makes a night game in the Eastern time zone. We'll probably
see. This is why I asked that to the group, because I would have never thought of that angle from like an executive angle and all those time differences. Like that would have never really triggered to me. That's why I asked these to the group of people smarter than me.
I would call me smarter than you. We'll both be in trouble. I'll say this, though, about who we want to win. I think the most advantageous is for Oregon or Oregon to beat the piss out of Penn State in a landslide.
Yeah. Now wait. Time out. I have been told repeatedly that this committee is going to try and not penalize teams that don't perform well in a bonus game that they are not like not everybody has to play in. So they're saying they're going to try and not penalize teams that lose this bonus conference championship game. Do you believe there's a point where if it's ugly enough, that doesn't apply? Is that where you're going?
My interpretation of that is that if they're in this week, they won't be dropped out of the top 12 next week.
Okay.
But they can still move up and down. I think that's still going to happen.
Right.
I don't think, and otherwise, why would they have the show for next week already planned? You've got tomorrow's show. Why would they have one the following Sunday after the conference championships?
Yeah.
I think there'll still be some movement. As far as the SEC, I don't think it matters because they'll just switch spots over Notre Dame and flip the other one ahead of Notre Dame, drop the other one below Notre Dame. That's just my personal opinion, and I should say suspicion.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see. And again, the biggest piece of this that I'm wondering is from a matchup perspective, whatever day and whatever time it's going to be great. I'm totally focused on the matchup, the variance in my mind between Notre Dame facing an Arizona State style roster or an SMU style roster at Notre Dame versus a Georgia roster coming to Notre Dame those are two things that I weigh very, very differently in my mind. Even a multiple 3-time loss Georgia, whatever, I'm telling you, that's a different roster challenge for Notre Dame than an Arizona State or something. Like when there's that big a variance in how this round one thing could go, as important as it's going to be for Notre Dame to end that 30-year big bowl thing this year and knock that off and all this, that's a big deal to me. I don't know. I just have no idea what to think about who Notre Dame might play. I have no idea.
To me, it doesn't matter because if Notre Dame plays Notre Dame football, we'll beat whoever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Georgia. Georgia struggled against the team that we beat pretty handily in Georgia Tech. In fact, they lost. If you look at it, the first touchdown they scored, that was a pass interference call on 4th down on a tipped ball. That should have been end of the game right there. And then the other call, the fumble, that was spearing, and that would have ended the game right there. So I'm not worried about Georgia. I'm not worried about anybody that we play. The only team I'm worried about is Notre Dame. Who's going to show up?
Yeah.
In my opinion, on Saturday, the team that showed up for Notre Dame was worse than the team that showed up for Northern Illinois. And I don't care about that because it's good that we won but played poorly because we work on that, and it's another wake-up call. So we can go back, got a chance to make those corrections, and now spring forward. So in other words, we're just in a bouncing off place to something better.
Yeah, it's this is just, it's all new. These are all new considerations. These are all new preparations. These are all new. Everything is new, and that's what I love about this is it's history. This is literally history, and I just think it's so interesting, man. I'm just happy for everybody involved, and we're all going along for the ride here. It's just an amazing, it's just a good place to be in as a Notre Dame fan. Anything else, my friend? It's good to hear from you.
Sure. Good to hear from you. It's always good to be heard from. That means I'm on this side of the dirt instead of the other side.
That's a good start.
I will offer my room that I rented up there back on August 1st before I left Aggie Land. I'll offer the room that I rented for you to do your show at the end of the day. I'm thinking we're going to be playing on Saturday, mid-afternoon. So after the night game, you can do the show from there and carry on as usual.
Well, how do you have that hook up already?
I got online. There's this little thing called Travelocity. I made my plans on that date.
Interesting. That's but what? Now you're not going?
No, now I am going, but I'm saying that you can at least do the show.
Oh, I could at least, I could at least find a place to have some internet connection to be able to do it. I like where your mind's at, my friend. I might be in touch with you. I got a lot of people I got to try and hook up with and make some plans for very quickly. I got your number. I may be reaching out about how to make this all happen.
Feel welcome to anytime.
Man, I really appreciate it. We got a really nice group of people. Everybody's trying to pull their plans together. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate you jumping in here. And I might literally reach out to you about that opportunity. Or maybe, God forbid, God forbid I just go and enjoy this and then we do a show the next day. Like, I only live 2 hours away. I'll drive back the next day and we could do a call-in show as long as people want, and it'll be 12 hours later. Like, it wouldn't be the end of the world if we did that, but I would feel guilty because I like being here right when the game ends. So that's all. It would just that is what it is.
Call the general manager or the sales manager or marketing manager at the Morris Inn or at the bookstore and have them sponsor the show. And their sponsorship is they give you a spot in the hookup.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. Man, I like this. You got some good ideas, man. I'm going to start paying you a consulting fee. Hey, thanks a lot for touching base this morning, man.
You've already paid it forward so many times. God bless you. God bless everybody listening, and God bless the Irish. And let's go.
Oh, I love it. Thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate that, guy. I give such nice callers. I say this all the time, you guys. When I started doing this, I genuinely expected this to be troll central with people clowning me and everything. Like, I just thought it could be brutal and the phone line thing would be a bad idea and it would just be people playing games. We get the nicest, most legitimate callers. It's just, it blows my mind sometimes. Ross Ray says, ND fans still obsessed with Kelly, ancient history for me. I think I live a little bit of a different life, Ross. I understand a lot of Notre Dame fans are in that boat. I think I live in a little bit of a different life because of what I'm doing. Irreconcilable differences. I think I'm a little different because with one foot in the media, there's no way, man, that I'm going to let those people say that we were all dumb nobodies in small town Northern football that didn't know anything about football running their mouths. And then now that it looks like we're more right than they are, there's no world where I'm letting that slide with the media. I'm not doing it. I absolutely refuse to let that slide and not throw it back in their face every single day Kelly does or says something stupid. I'm not doing it. There's no chance. I'm not letting it happen. So I understand a lot of Notre Dame fans like, whatever, we got the man we like. Things are going good. We're all moving on. I totally understand that perspective. But I'm just not letting it go. I'm not letting it go. Singer ripped me a new one on phone call management. Well, that's great. That's great. I'm glad he had multiple years to watch how I do it before he stole my idea and tried to do it on his own. Hopefully he could clean it up a little bit. I would hope so. He's got a great template of how to do it in the Notre Dame niche from John doing it for multiple years. I would hope that I set a good example for the next guy that does my bit to be able to do it a little smoother. Good for him. I'm happy for him. I am genuinely happy for Singer, though. He is a good guy. The baby's healthy. That's the biggest thing. So I'm happy for him. But yeah, he's got a great template to adjust off of watching me do this before he decided it was a good idea to do. 574, what's going on?
Hey, what's up?
What's going on?
Well, boy, what a game, huh? I was very hesitant as far as if they were going to win or not. And I watched the game and I was like, boy, they came out, they were wanting an upset. I don't know if that's because they played bad or if Notre Dame just played bad, but you know, they ended up winning. But you know, anyway,
is it just listen, man? Is it a rivalry? Is there something to that? When you look around the country, at some of those games and results and the physicality and the fights after the games and everything in it, like maybe there really is just something to the idea that it's a rivalry game and everybody's beefing. I don't know.
That could have been too. But I really think they were just out to win it. They wanted us to lose. They really did. But again, I'm going to go back to saying maybe we just didn't play as good as we could have. But we ended up beating them. But still, it's like, well, now you guys got to step up your game a little bit and make sure that you don't get that close to, you know, winning. You know,
yeah.
I think they tied it up at one point, didn't they? It was
Yeah.
like 35-35 for a little bit.
Yeah, well, they were going in. They were going in for the tying touchdown when Gray took that ball all the way back. It's a beautiful, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing, man. I don't know, man. And the other thing is, listen, it would have been nice to have no blood pressure radar or anything, you know what I mean? And have a relaxing day or whatever. But it was a rivalry game. All you had to do was win it, and they did it. And now I'm ready to move on and look at the next 3 weeks. How can Notre Dame get better?
Yeah. Like I said, man, I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of like hesitant about the game, and I was like, because we lost to Illinois, and we already talked about that. But I was kind of like, well, you better win. I hope you win, because it's gonna be a game that you pretty much not pretty much, you have to win. But and then and then when Notre Dame when they intercepted that ball and ran that 90+ touchdown, I literally said, like, F you, like the words F you, SC. Now I was raised in a good home. I went to church and all that. I know. No offense, I know I'm not supposed to say stuff like that.
Be a good Catholic boy. Be a good Catholic boy now.
Actually, I was raised in a conservative church. I wasn't Catholic, and nothing against Catholics. Hey, if you want to be a Catholic, I mean, that's between you and God, But I sometimes I get overexcited, and especially during game like watching Notre Dame games, I do not like when people talk. It's like I'm on the edge,
Yeah.
And when people talk, I'm like, can you just watch the game, please?
Yeah.
And then another thing I wanted to ask was, did you say that Notre Dame was going to play South Carolina, or was that the SMU game that they're going to play?
I have no idea. I've seen all sorts of proposed round one opponents, and I have no idea. I am not smart enough, and I'm not going to act like I am, to be able to parse out all the different things that need to change and maneuver. I've seen everything from Arizona State to Georgia to South Carolina to I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not even going to act like I'm going to prognosticate, because I have no idea how to think of this.
Yeah, I don't either, because I
am not smart enough, man. I am so not smart enough to be able to figure out all these brackets and who needs to win or lose. And then you need to account for the difference in your ranking and your seating. And then you need to try and think of how the committee's going to try and think of these results. It's too much for me. I can't handle it. I'm not smart enough to do the math.
Yeah, and another thing was the rankings. Like, you have one team that's above us in the playoff games. They're playing the SEC. Well, they're a contender. They're 10-2. Ohio State. They just lost. Hey, and I do not like Michigan. I'm not a Michigan fan, but I was rooting for them because I wanted them to beat Ohio State, to make them look bad, and they did. But they're 10-2, and they're in the number 2 spot as far as the SEC games, above Notre Dame. And I'm like, why? They're 10-2. Yeah, they play pretty good as far as other games. They play higher ranked games, but 10-2, they're above us. That does not make. And that's another thing. How do you rank them higher than us if they lost more games than us? How does that even work?
Yeah, well, see, this is where you're getting into how do you judge different conferences and different schedules that are all of different strengths and weaknesses. That is the challenge of this. And the bigger the playoff opening is, and the more teams you have to consider, the bigger that net is that you have to do the math to figure out, is one team's 3-loss record more impressive than another team with a lighter schedule's undefeated record or 1-loss record? Like, that is the part where there's no perfect science in how to figure it out, man. And that's why you have a committee of these geniuses in a boardroom somewhere trying to figure it all out, I guess. That's the tricky part of all of this.
Well, and it all depends on who you play, too. I get that. Like, if you play harder teams, But still, if you play harder teams, you should be able to beat them if you're a better team, right?
Yeah, I think it's
You
just
should be able to
well,
beat them.
there's two different ways to look at it, man. There's two different ways to look at it. One is theoretically, you could want on paper what looks like easier seed matchups the first couple rounds. Theoretically, that would benefit Notre Dame if you had weaker matchups, whatever that is, whatever teams that is, the first couple games. Theoretically, that should help you advance more. But there's also an argument of if you're going to have to win it all, you're going to have to go through and beat good teams. Give us Georgia round one, the hell with it. Let's just go beat them. Like if you have that vision, you're going to have to run through and beat good teams at some point. What does it matter whether it's round 3 or round 1? Give it to me. Like those are two different ways to look at it. For Notre Dame history and Marcus Freeman, I think it'd be nice. Whatever gives them the best chance to knock the 30-year not winning a major bowl game and kill that. Whatever gives us the best chance to do that, that is my next immediate goal.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand that, but I know what you're saying, though. I some of it was like harder to understand, but no, I mean, like basically though, you're saying like the harder the teams, yeah, you should win them, and yeah, you should probably be higher because you won them. So, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's just
basically?
I don't know.
Yeah.
This is such a big range to me in these rosters. So I don't know what we're gonna get, man. I don't know what the matchups are, but I'm here for the ride. I see you're a 574. Would you go to the game? I'm assuming you're somewhere in the area.
I am, but I can't afford it right now.
Yeah, well, let's see what it's like.
And I know, like if I would get tickets, it'd be the nosebleed section. But I mean, it'd still be a good game to go to, though.
Yeah, well, it's history.
But
it's history. You know, the other thing you could do, and I've done this for some bigger games where I couldn't get tickets, is just to be around the energy, man. Like I've gone to campus before just to feel the vibe on a Friday night, or I've gone there for the tailgating on a Saturday and then leave and go watch the game somewhere else. Like I've done that just when I needed a taste of the vibe. You know what I mean? I needed the energy kick.
Yeah. I mean that is true. That is true. I guess I could think about doing that.
Yeah, there should be a lot going on around town. Should be fun.
You know, another thing is we actually haven't done this good since 2018. 2018, we were 12-1. That was under Brian Kelly, but you know, and when he left, I was like pretty disappointed, you know. But you know, and now things aren't Brian Kelly.
Yeah, it wasn't disappointing to me. It was the best night of my life when that guy left in the middle of the night. Didn't disappoint. Are you shitting me? Didn't disappoint me 1 second. It was the happiest I had been in years when he left in the middle of the night. You kidding me?
Yeah, I guess he kind of grew on me more than maybe other people because he was like doing good, and then he started doing bad, and it was like, I don't know. You know, it's like, yeah, he probably should be doing better or progressing to get better, not getting worse, you know. But another thing that I wanted to say was that we are this year, and maybe previous years, we are, well, there was the 1 year where we were number 2, I think, or number 1, I forget. But we are above Georgia, we're above Ohio State, we're above Alabama, we're above Clemson. To me, that's pretty significant. You know, that we are better than them. Yeah, we might not have done that good. Maybe we didn't have that good of teams, but still, we're above them. They should be above us. All of those teams.
Yeah, it's their argument would be that we don't play a tough enough schedule and that their losses should still have them valued above us. So it's just the powers that be don't see it that way. We're where we're at for a reason, and now you just gotta go win, man. Anything else? Thanks for calling on a Monday.
Well, I wanted one more thing. I know there's other people, but as far as recruiting, can they say yes or no to different teams that they're given to play? Can they say, well, I don't know about that or that team, or I'm probably not going to fit in our schedule, or like, can they say yes or no to a team to play that team? Can they? Do they have that option?
Can who say no to playing a team?
Can Notre Dame say no to certain teams?
You mean in a
Like
you mean in a regular
like
schedule?
any team that wants to play them, or is it a set schedule where you have to play that team?
Well, I believe, okay, think about it. You got the ACC 5-game thing is automatic. So there's a rotation of the games there with the ACC. So those 5 games, the conference will kind of rotate and decide. Then outside of that, you have your rivalry games. And then outside of that, Notre Dame and other interested parties negotiate, if there's interest there, negotiate terms and agree on those games. I think there's always an interaction between the entities. Are you interested? Are you interested? What would it look like? What dates are available? Is this a home and a home? You come to us, we come to you the next year. I think then they negotiate at that point.
Okay. And then one last thing that Matt, now I will say this: Brian Kelly, Marcus Freeman is doing a very, very good job this year, and I think I hope it's going to progress. It's going to progress. I can't say think or hope. It's going to progress. But you said that this is the first black coach that's actually gotten this far. And then I was thinking, well, what other black coaches did we have? Then I was thinking, oh yeah, it's that Tyrone I can't coach worth a crap Willingham dude who ended up getting fired or moved or whatever. I forget.
Yep, that was him. That was him.
But but you know, yeah. And I was thinking, well, yeah, he is a good coach. Marcus Freeman is a good coach, and I think he's going to progress, and I think we're going to have from next year on, we're going to continue to have better games.
Well, let's go.
If we don't, then I'm going to be really disappointed and say, you better start thinking about getting another coach. And there's times where I've been like, well, you're not doing so good. We should probably think about getting another coach. But,
hey, I think we're on the we're on the up and up, my friend. Thanks for giving me a call on a Monday. Appreciate you.
Yeah, go Irish. And can you do one more thing for me?
Yeah,
can you say go Irish in your voice?
Go Irish. Have a good one. I'm telling you, it's good to have fans all over, people. Kelly and Auto's $5 people. I think the championships for conferences should be a flip game. If the favorite loses, they flip seeds. Would make the stakes huge. Listen, she's saying, dude, you cut him off. He had like longer than anybody else had today. Give me a break. Callahan Auto. You have an issue now where the conference championships don't mean as much. It's the reality. You could say it isn't true, whatever. It used to mean the world. Now it just doesn't mean as much. Everybody's looking right by conference championship week and right into the brackets, bro. Like, let's just call it what it is. Everybody is looking right by their conference championships, right into those brackets, other than just to see what the seeding's going to be, who wins or loses. But there's no way around it. All of that has gotten diminished, even though they do get a bye for winning them or whatever. They've been diminished. Just admit it. It's been diminished. So I don't know how conference people think about that or whatever. I don't know. Regarding the content debates, here's my thought. I've said this forever, and it's still true today as it was in 2016 when I started doing this. Notre Dame fans should have a sampling of a whole bunch of different people that write and do content and video content and sample it all. That's what I think. I think you should, and then you could get what you want from everybody. You want the emotional fan. How does this make you think and feel? You don't know what you're going to get. Come to me. You want X's and O's? Go somebody. Go to Ryan Roberts, break down some film and talk about your draft stock and guys' body types and all the different recruiting angles with that kind of stuff. Do that. Like, I just think it's healthy. Get a sampling of everybody and find people that have specific parts they're really, really good at. And then you get what you need from building it from everybody. And then bounce around. You know what else I think is helpful too is there's these themes. The Notre Dame media is pretty good about the themes. Like, you kind of know what the main few bullet points are for the week when you go through the season, and you could see it in the content, because everybody that does it every day, you end up with these common strains of thought. There may be a couple offshoots, but it's pretty much I'm noticing that over the years where there's usually a few different angles to lean on that everybody's kind of on, and then they throw their own feel on it. So listen, everybody works their ass off in this niche. Like everybody that does the content thing, it is a grind. And I will say this, you see 5% of the work. The 95% of it is the research and all the behind the scenes stuff you got to do to write an article or do a video. So it's a lot of work, and I respect everybody that does it, even though there's some of them that I know don't like me. Some of them I've never even interacted with that don't like me. It is what it is in this business, man. It is what it is. So I don't know. 618, what's going on? This guy never wavered. You said it was going to be Notre Dame in the playoff, and you were right, 618. You were right again. Come on, don't tell me you're asleep now, Terrence. Wake up. This is your time to shine. You called Notre Dame in the playoff all these weeks and all these months. Now it's your time to crow a little bit, and you're asleep at the switch. Son of a buck. Terrence, call me back sometime, buddy. Call me back. I love you. Oh, that's so funny, man. God, that's good. 574, what's going on? Well, what?
What up, John?
What's going on?
Not much. Let me start off by
why don't you start by talking into the phone instead of down an abandoned mine shaft? Let's start there.
There we go. Yeah. All right, let me start by going cheer for old Notre Dame.
Yeah, I like that song. It's one of my favorites. What? Dude. I'm not impressed. I think this show is over, you guys. I got to get the kid on the school bus. The calls are devolved. That's going to be it for the calls today. I got a whole nother bank of calls. The last couple did not go good. I honestly got to get the kid on the bus. That's going to be it, man. That's going to be it. I'm sorry. Walter, he says the phone did it again. I'm sorry, man. I'm coming in this thing like John Tapper. Shut it down. Shut it down. I'm walking in there like Tapper. I'm looking in the freezer, and I see some roaches in there, and the chicken's touching the fish. Shut it down. I love this show, man. You know what the problem is with these media types? You take yourself too seriously, man. That's, I think, the secret to this show. You can't take yourself too seriously. You just yeah, we'll do it live. This thing sucks. We'll do it live. Oh my God. I love this show. Oh, this is fun. This is going to be such a good 3 weeks. I got to say, thanks to everybody. We're just getting started. That's okay, Walter. Give me a call again, man. I'm here on all these morning shows. You'll get me again. No big deal. Terrence fell asleep on me probably. I feel bad. It was his chance to brag that he was right. He predicted us to make the playoff every day. We finally did, and he's asleep at the switch. Go figure. It was nice to have Ryan Roberts in here. Like, again, you guys, I find value in all the different people that do content and their specialties. That's the nice thing about this niche. You got a whole bunch of people that are good at a whole bunch of different things. And that's good for the fan base to have all those options. So I want to thank everybody for being here. Thanks for the chats. Thanks for the donations. Thanks for everything, man. This has just been it's been a really good journey in Notre Dame land. So enjoy it, and we're just getting started. So thanks, everybody. We'll have the Monday Night Raw with Goolsby on the Patreon tonight. I'll have a video for you guys tomorrow, and then we'll go from there. This is going to be a wild ride the next 3 weeks. So let's enjoy it, everybody. Have a good one. Thank you.